Hey everyone, my name is Wolfram. I'm the founder of Arcentry, and we've just released our brand new JSON and CSV export for architecture diagrams. In this video, I want to quickly show it how it works, but more importantly, how to get the most out of it. So I've already set up a very basic architecture like this one here. And if I want to export this one as a CSV, I go to export here, and then there's download a CSV for spreadsheets. And now if I click that, you can see this preview table here. I can make my sidebar a bit wider, and I see all the sorts of data that I would get in my CSV later on. Now, this is actually quite flexible. So what I can do is I can click on the headers here, and I can change, for instance, the labels that will later appear in my CSV. Component, go. And more importantly, I can filter what kind of columns and what kind of rows I want to include in my output. So maybe it's worth taking a quick step back. One of the possible use cases for this, and actually a few people have asked about that, is that they would like to export their architectures, including a number of meta tags such as instance IDs, AWS instance sizes, security groups, subnets, and the likes, and use the resulting CSV as a source for deployment, but also for documentation. And this is exactly what we want to facilitate with this feature. So probably, for instance, you would only want to export the components on the architecture diagram, not the lines, the areas, the widgets, and so on. So if I want to do that, I just uncheck the various other things. And you can see in the background here that the lines that are not matching to this filter are being deactivated. Cool. So now I reduced the whole thing to just components. And now I want to quickly go through the various columns that I can have. And probably I don't, for instance, care about icon color all that much. So I just exclude this entire column from my output. And I'll do this for all my columns. There's quite a few of them. And once I'm done, I just hit download CSV. And it creates a file for me. And this open on the other screen, but it's exactly the sort of thing that I would expect. And this is really cool. But in order to get the most out of that, what I want to do is I want to associate metadata information with the various components that I can then find in my CSV. So for instance, if I wanted to associate a subnet ID with this thing here, I could do the following. In the bottom left, when you click it, of the sidebar, you have this control panel here. And it's important to say you only have that if you have the API enabled. So if you haven't done that yet, just head over here, click API enabled. You get a key assigned, doesn't cost anything. And now you can use a bunch of extra features that allow you to interact with your document programmatically. And one of these features is the ability to see the actual data of the component itself. I can actually also change this, right? So I can move it if I choose to. Nope, that's all wrong. 10. Hit save here, and then it moves. But also I can add metadata to it. I can do this here. Metadata is organized as key value pairs, so I can get, say, instance ID A12. And you can see here in the component data, this is being embedded. You can add more entries, subnet B14, and so on. Now, one cool thing I can do is I can actually show this next to a component, and then later on, if I move this component around, this metadata stays associated with the component. And I can also show the keys to this metadata and rotate it, set its size, and the like. So this is all very neat. And of course, if I now want to apply similar metadata to all these components, using this key value editor here can be a bit cumbersome. So what I can do alternatively, I can simply copy this key here from the data set, click the next guy, and paste it here. So trailing comma, boom. Right? And now I have the same sort of abilities here. And now, of course, I can go back to my CSV exporter. And if I look for this component, where we're looking here, I should now have some extra columns. Where are they? Exactly, meta instance, meta subnet. And here I have my two values, A12, A14. And the cool thing now is rather than having meta instance ID, which is something that I probably cannot use in my deployment script, I can change this label and change this to just instance ID, just subnet. And now I download this once more. And if I now open this file, I can now see this metadata as instance ID and subnet ID in here. All right, that's it for this one. Thanks so much for listening. And if you have any other questions about Arcentry, feel free to write to us at info@arcentry.com.